This video, we're going to talk about Marxism or the societal literary theory. So, some assumptions that we need to consider when we think about Marxism is that we're going to be thinking about the way people think and behave is determined by basic economic factors. So, for example, if you have lots of money in the Marxist theory, you'd think about if having lots of money, we're going to spend it all. And if you have not a lot of money, your behavior is going to drive the constant desire for having what you don't have. And those things determine how you act. Some other assumptions are that the wealthy class exploits or takes advantage of the working class by forcing their own values and beliefs on them, usually through control of working conditions and money. So, for example, the wealthy people might hoard the wealth and make it harder for the working class to rise above. So, therefore, they can continue to use the working class in factories or other working conditions so that they, the wealthy people, can continue to earn more money. And that literature in this realm of thinking is a product of social and cultural conflict, that our literature is born out of social and cultural conflict so that it reflects these sorts of things. So, when we examine things with the Marxist lens, we want to think about who benefits from the work or the effort in the book, and is they are the people being accepted, successful, or believed when they produce that work. We also want to consider the social class of the author. So, where are they in their own social realm? Are they lower class? Are they upper class? Are they middle class? And how do those values reflect their work? And which class does the work claim to represent? This can be really interesting in combination with the previous question, because if it's an upper class person writing about the lower class, what assumptions are being conveyed through the book about the lower class? And we also want to think about work ethic and values, and whose values are being reinforced in the literature and whose values are being undermined or being cast down upon. We also want to think about what social classes are being represented by the characters and how are they portrayed. How are different characters from different classes interacting and conflicting? How does social conditions shape power relationships between different groups of people? Who has the power and who doesn't, and why? And does the story address issues of economic exploitation? So, for example, we can think about the Scarlet Letter and the fact that the crime that's Hester committed prevented her from the economic power that she might have had by being able to have other jobs or even being able to remarry. The crime, her gender, all of those things kept her down economically and therefore unable to rise in social class. We want to think about the economic conditions that determine the direction of the characters' lives. Is the character coming from a low class so that all of their struggle is being forced to try and rise above? Um, does the work challenge or affirm social hierarchies or orders? So, do we have characters that are rising above their station, or do we have characters that are trying to maintain the power and control? And so, then we also want to think about, can the main character or the protagonist struggle be seen to represent a larger class struggle? So, if we see Cinderella overcoming the odds to become a princess, can she represent the rise of the lower class? So the picture I have here is Scar from The Lion King, and we like to think about how the lions are a ruling class, and Scar manipulates the working class or the hyenas in order to gain his own power, where he starts to try and exploit their labor and their power in order for him to gain power. But in the end, he's not looking out for them. He just wants to use them so that he can gain power in the end. So, in that case, when we look at The Lion King with a Marxist lens, we're thinking about the power, who holds the power, what different social classes, because of course we have the lions versus the hyenas. And so, what does that tell us about the social structure or hierarchy within the Lion King?